Good morning. Perhaps you are haunted by the same question I was recently asking myself, namely, what will happen when I retire? Will I allow my knowledge that I've gained over the decades to just disappear and die with me or, retire with me? Well, I want to give you three concrete tips that I have found myself and then invite you actually at the end to dive deeper during a Q&A that I'm hosting later today. So here are the three tips. When you do your work, whether that is training somebody one-on-one, spur of the moment, or in a bigger setting, in a group setting perhaps, record it. Please record it. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is, of course, you got to store this information in a proper way, which can be done very simply. Start with putting the date in. So, for example, 2023 10/04 would mean October 4th, 2023. And then maybe underscore, and then the topic, the main topic of the conversation. So that's a great start. So let's call that tip one. Tip two then is, how can you then process it? Well, you can process it with artificial intelligence. That's one option. And I don't know how you feel about our AI, whether you're already using it, whether you've started to use it, but I think we all know that AI is going to have, already does have, a profound impact on the entire business world, especially when it comes to knowledge-driven industries like yours. Therefore, it pays to pay attention to this. And it does not have to be, a fearful conversation. So the last 2 weeks, we have been talking about this during our Q&A, and what has happened is that each time the participants came out feeling, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that with AI like this. And this is more like using AI like a superpowered virtual assistant rather than, someone who's gonna take over the world and make me feel useless. No, it's not like that. So AI can actually help you process the videos that you have taken of the training that you have given, or even watching yourself work. So with AI, you can pull out the main points, and then that can give you a real leg up. And we're going to talk more about this in our Q&A, but the way it will give you a leg up is that now, rather than having to sit in front of an empty computer screen and say, let me write down, how do I do this process, or how do I do this task? You have already some bullet points about how you do that task, and then you can improve that. And that's amazing. And I've used that method, for example, for myself to actually put together courses in training people the things that I used to do exclusively with private clients. You see that? There's several things, because it expands how many people you can serve. If you jump out of bed and you feel a calling for what you do, which I do, then it's important. Two things are important: that you can expand your bandwidth while you're doing it, and that it can live on when you're not doing it anymore. And both of those are really important to me. And that's really important to you. I invite you, come and let's have that conversation. It's totally interactive, and you can't buy a thing at these Q&As. So it's not a webinar or anything like that. The third tip is that it's always a great idea to have an outline for of your knowledge as you think about how you might want to train that. But I want to tell you that you don't necessarily have to have the outline at the beginning. You can also create the outline by following the first two steps I just said, namely video and then pulling points out with AI. As you look at these points that come out of the analysis of your videos, the outline will fall into place much faster in my experience. And so these are the three tips: video yourself, use AI in a smart way as a virtual assistant on steroids. And number 3, create an outline either from the beginning, or in many cases it's more easily done after you implemented the first 2 tips. And here's a quick 4th tip, which is get started. I'm inviting you to come to my Q&A today at noon Central. I'll put the link underneath, and I'll see you there. Ciao.